Should I go ahead and start? Yeah. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this session as part of the Global Cleveland Sister City Conference 2020. My name is Joe Marinucci, and I want to welcome you to this session, which is entitled At the Heart of the City. This panel discusses the role of a downtown in the stability and health of any city, with city representatives from successful urban cores around the globe. Hopefully today you'll learn what makes a downtown thrive, and by expansion, what makes a community thrive. In addition to myself, our two speakers today are going to be Marina Jackman. Marina was born in Pinamar, Argentina, and moved to Cleveland in 2017. She studied international relations, and she's the founder of Time to Talk, a mobile app that connects Spanish students in the US and Canada with native speakers all over Latin America. Marina will have some unique perspectives on life both in Argentina and here in Cleveland. And in addition, forgive me because I'm going to mispronounce your name. So we have a representative from Ljubljana, Mrs. Janja, Romih, Kulenovic, if I'm pronouncing it right.
So, no, not really. So I live in Ljubljana.
Ljubljana.
And my name is Janja, Romih, Kulenovic.
Well, great. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself at the outset, but before we go into the panel, what role do you play in the community? You're head of sales promotion.
Yeah, in the Ljubljana tourism department. So yeah, I deal with tourists coming to Slovenia and to promote Ljubljana and the things that we done all over the city, just for the citizens and tourists alike, yes.
Well, great. Well, thank you both for joining us. What I'm going to do is talk a little bit about downtown Cleveland, and then I'll turn the microphone over to the two of you to talk about your respective communities. And I've got a slide presentation that I will share with you in terms of our work in downtown Cleveland. And again, if you're not familiar with Cleveland, let me note that Downtown Cleveland Alliance is a nonprofit entity that represents the property owners, the stakeholders, the businesses here in downtown Cleveland. And about a year ago, we actually did a study with the International Downtown Association, which looked at 33 cities across North America to talk about the importance of downtowns to the regional economies. And if I could share a couple of the key findings that IDA shared with us in terms of their work. Cleveland, again, a major commercial center for Northeast Ohio. We had, just to give you some sense of the numbers, 13.8% increase in the private sector jobs occurred in downtown Cleveland over a 15-year period. We've added about 780,000 square feet of office space, leased over 50 businesses over the last 5 years. 34% of all City of Cleveland jobs and 74% of the city's creative jobs are concentrated in downtown, and 56% of the city's jobs are connected by the Health Line, which is a bus rapid transit system that runs along one of our major corridors called Euclid Avenue. And that connects us to the Midtown district of the city as well as the University Circle district. And if you think of public transportation and its impact to our urban cores, I could share with you that 56% of the jobs within the city of Cleveland are on that corridor. So if you think about it, the corridor has made significant impacts for us. Downtown Cleveland saw a population increase in terms of our residential base of 100% over the last 20 years, and 13% of the city's base, essentially retail base, is concentrated here. To give you some size of the scope, again, we've got about 105,000 jobs concentrated here in downtown. Again, we've added jobs over the last 5 years, and you can see our job growth numbers. Our job density is about just over 40,500 per square mile. 45% of our downtown jobs base has a college education or greater. and 46% of the jobs are reflective of knowledge-related jobs. And our unemployment rate right now in terms of the city of Cleveland is about 11%, to give you some sense of those perspectives. We've seen significant investment in downtown. These are a couple of examples. One to the left is called the May Company building, which was an old, nearly 1 million square foot department store that was abandoned and no longer in retail use a number of years ago. That has recently been transformed into over 300 market rate apartments, transforming a beautiful, as you see, white terracotta building into a residential anchor for our community. And to the right is a project called the Lumen, which is a ground up new construction project, again, bringing over 300 residences to downtown and representing about $140 million investment on behalf of the community. Most recently, we were able to work with a major downtown employer in a Fortune 500 company, Sherwood Williams, who in early 2020 announced their decision to remain in Cleveland and build a new 1 million square foot headquarter facility in the area surrounding Public Square. That will retain about 3,500 jobs in the core. And as you can see, their Northeast Ohio numbers are significant in terms of the fiscal impact to the community and also the impact to the state of Ohio. But more importantly, we've been able to keep about a $4 billion in payroll in the community and $140 million in tax revenue to the community over a 10-year period, represented by the decision of Sherwood Williams to keep their headquarters here. And by the way, they're also going to build a 600,000 square foot suburban research center in Greater Cleveland, which will keep a significant number of those jobs again in the community, representing almost a $600 million investment. In terms of downtown Cleveland, we now are approaching 20,000 residents. And when you look at the portfolio, we are in a position where a lot of the new product, new apartments, market rate apartments in particular that have been added represent almost a 97% occupancy level, which is very, very strong. And as we've pivoted and began to look forward, we envision that we'll be able to grow the downtown population base to about 30,000 people. So again, from Cleveland's perspective, this is a relatively new transition for us, unlike maybe some of our European or South American cities. Traditionally, downtown Cleveland was not a strong residential base, and our ability to create that base here in downtown Cleveland has been significant. This is an example of some of the streetscapes that you see in downtown. This is East 4th Street. As you can see, we have diners who are taking appropriate COVID-related precautions, but this is one of the entertainment districts in the heart and within a stone's throw of our sports complex, which is called the Gateway Complex, and again are home to the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Cleveland Indians, as well as about 200 other types of events, entertainment-related events that animate the downtown space. Downtown Cleveland, in many ways, is a very diverse community. Here you see the probability statistic in terms of 2 residents in a given area would be of a different race or ethnicity, easy for me to say on a Friday morning, of 64%. You can see the housing and transportation costs are still relatively modest compared to a resident's income. And you see that 36% of the household are middle income in terms of the downtown framework. And I'd also point out that we are now looking at about 13% of our downtown residential base being residents who are children or senior age. So again, we've got age diversity in terms of our work in downtown Cleveland. In terms of our public transportation systems, we obviously are very sensitive to mobility and accessibility issues. So we have our obviously traditional bus system, which serves downtown. We have the only rail system in the state of Ohio, which is a great advantage to us. We're able to bring about 45,000 commuters into downtown Cleveland on a daily basis through that rail connectivity. activity. And as you can see, we've also added additional trolley service over the years, as well as increased the capacity of our residents to use scooters as part of that distribution system. And of course, we've got a really strong walkability score here in downtown of 96. So if you think of downtown Cleveland, it's a fairly compact location where you can easily walk from work to entertainment districts, to a great culinary scene, as well as to 3 major sports facilities within the downtown environment. In addition, we also are extremely sensitive, as many communities are in the United States, to what happened in Minneapolis with the murder of George Floyd and the subsequent discussion that's been occurring in our communities concerning racial justice and the impacts of systemic racism. We, in trying to navigate that issue and try to, in our attempts to embrace it, actually created a number of these images, working with local Black artists to help us have open and constructive dialogue about the impact of racism in Cleveland. And in particular, we understand that we have an obligation from a downtown perspective to also embrace the challenge, ensure that we're thinking through from an equity building perspective how we create a very diverse and inclusive environment for downtown Cleveland. So that really has become one of our key strategic objectives as we move forward in not only the months, but in the years ahead. North Coast Harbor, again, I wanted to share with you, we sit on the shores of Lake Erie, and this is a great image of the panoramic of the city with the rock hall there in the foreground. Again, our ability to touch Lake Erie with institutions like the Rock Hall, with the Science Center, represent some of our key growth opportunities. And again, from a recreational perspective, we believe that touching the lake, allowing our residents, our employees to take advantage of the lake and kind of build on that experience, I think is going to be vitally important as we continue to grow downtown. And from an aspirational perspective, I also want to share with you that we are in the midst of completing a study called Vision for the Valley. Cleveland has the great advantage of having a major industrial waterway called the Cuyahoga River, which kind of gives us, in addition to the lakefront, another swath of water, if you will, that allows us to not only bring additional investment into downtown, and you can see in this this picture an ore boat that actually operates on the Cuyahoga, but allows us to connect to recreation and trail assets that, again, we think are going to be extremely important as we navigate in our future. And again, the River Valley represents unique opportunities where we're looking at significant park investments and trail investments that will connect directly into downtown, and we think provide a significant amenity for us going forward. So that kind of gives you a perspective on our work in downtown Cleveland. And again, I want to reiterate the fact that we at Downtown Cleveland Alliance feel very strongly that the Downtown Cleveland plays a pivotal role in terms of our work. And we really believe that the strength of Downtown Cleveland also will embody not only the city of Cleveland, but in essence, additional investments throughout the region. So we're very, very pleased that we've made significant progress. We still have challenges, as many downtowns do, but we think we're now at a position that we can hopefully take advantage of things. And I'd be remiss to say, obviously, the last 6 months have been a challenge as it relates to COVID-19 and our ability to animate downtown. We're learning as we go that engagement now may take the form of social media platforms or virtual engagement, as we are doing here in this conference. But we also know that going forward, hopefully in the first part of next year, we can return to an environment where we in fact have more opportunities to bring people back, to animate the space. And as we all know, downtowns are that platform for us as a community where people can congregate, they can enjoy festival activities, they can come together to create civic engagement opportunities, and maybe more importantly, continue the momentum that we've seen as a community going forward. So with that, I'm going to turn it over, I think, to Marina, and ask her to talk a little bit about not only her experience here in Cleveland, but her experience in Pinamar, and talk a little bit about the Argentine experience in terms of their downtown experience.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Yes, thank you. I'm a very happy Cleveland resident. I've been living in Cleveland for 3 years, and it is very interesting to me. I am originally I was born and raised in Buenos Aires, Argentina, but I lived for almost 10 years in Pinamar, which is the combination of pinos and mar, which means pine trees and sea. And that is definitely what the city is about. I'll show you a couple of pictures. It is a very interesting city. It's the #1 vacation destination for people in the area, in the capital. It's a beach town that grows its population exponentially in the summer. And then in the winter, it feels like it's a ghost town, right? So that happens a lot with touristic cities. And I can see a parallelism with Cleveland because the winters I've spent here and then the summers, the difference is huge. You see people are so happy in the summer just to go out and walk around the city and experience the city and the cultural events and the lake and the beaches. So in Pinamar, there's a similar situation that happens. And I think that the role of the downtown plays a key role for that winter life. And it is very interesting to see how a city develops this space to serve its population better. And I will show you, because I think it's worth sharing how beautiful Pinamar is. I'm sorry, 1 second. Oh, sorry, I prepared this, but then technology is not always. Okay, I will just share my whole screen and you can. No. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Browser that you have opened.
Okay. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. Okay, there. Okay, so this is what describes Pinamar in pictures. Pinamar is woods, forests, and beach, and sand dunes. But the government is doing a really good job at creating more accessible. Yes.
So we can still see the browser, the picture that you've been trying to show.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll just open it. Can you see that?
No, nothing.
No.
Oh, it's only showing my browser. Okay, let me there. Okay. Can you see the pictures?
Yes.
Okay, so this is basically what Pinamar means to so many people in the country. It's beach, it's the woods, it's peace, it's tranquility. So many people that live in Pinamar too. This is the downtown, and you can see how similar to, well, the same as Cleveland, the downtown finishes in the lake, in Pinamar, the downtown finishes the beach. So the government is doing a lot of efforts to create better mobility in this regard. I will show you something really interesting that they're trying to do. They're trying to create a walking path right next to the beach, because right now this is how it looks. So it's just for cars, and then on this side this is the beach, and they are going to transform this space and allow people to also enjoy and walk. And a very interesting thing that my friend, the mayor of Pinamar, told me about is that they are trying to use natural resources to adapt to the city instead of invading the natural resources with, in this example, they're going to use wood and sand and plants to create this path instead of using cement as they would have before. So I think that is very interesting, how cities adapt to the natural resources available. And then I'm going to stop sharing. Yeah, I think it's also very interesting. What I noticed in Cleveland is that there are so many efforts to keep the city alive, and there's so many cultural options and things to do. It was really impressive to me. And also another thing that I think it's interesting to notice with smaller and medium cities is that, as my friend said, my friend who's a writer and a poet, she talks about cities that show you their personality right away, and cities that they make you work for it, right? So Cleveland, I think, is one of those cities that when you come as a foreigner, you have to spend some time here to realize that it is truly a hidden gem, as they call it, and that there is so much to do and so much energy and excitement from the people that live here and the people that create the city. And the Downtown Cleveland Alliance is one of these players that make the city great. So that is my perspective from an outsider that lived in a similar city in another country.
Thank you, Marina. If I could ask, before going to our next presenter, Janja, could I ask, as you were making a decision to where to locate in the United States, obviously one of the goals of Global Cleveland is to attract people like yourself to this community. What other communities did you consider, and why did you ultimately end up choosing Cleveland for your home?
So I think that it's not that well known in other countries that mid-sized cities are also a great place for one's own life and professional development. And I think that's really interesting. And that's why Sister Cities is so important, because it sheds a light on these other cities that are not, New York, San Francisco, Chicago, the classic cities that everyone else in the world knows. So for me, it was my husband's job that brought us here. And I remember we were living in Barcelona, Spain, and he said, I got a job offer in Cleveland, Ohio. So I had never heard of Cleveland, or maybe I had heard, but I didn't know where it was. I didn't know anything. I first confused it with Cincinnati. I was joking, when are we moving to Cincinnati?
We're both on the water, so
Kind of close. So I remember Googling Cleveland, and I remember around 400,000 people, West Side Market, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I thought, oh, okay, this is a city, and there's some cool things happening. But when I moved here, it was in the middle of the winter. I didn't know, and it was hard exploring the city and the museums that the city has, and it's just amazing. And the people, that's what I think is so important for other people to know around the world about the US. The US is not, you know, a concept or the three cliches that people have about Americans. There is so much talent, so many people that are open-minded and willing to work together with other types of people and foreigners. So I think Cleveland is one of those cities that it's worth exploring and learning more about. And this opened up my eyes to talk to know and figure out that, oh, there's a lot of other cities like this in the US, and that is very unique about this country, that these cities are great places to move. You don't have to live in the capital of the country, as it happens with many other countries, to, you know, create a successful professional life, or to be able to access theaters and cultural events. So I think that's awesome.
Well, thank you for that additional perspective. I appreciate it. Now, if I could ask Jana to talk a little bit about Ljubljana in Slovenia. Obviously, we appreciated hearing a little bit of the South American perspective in terms of Pinamar, but I'd love to hear your experience and especially learn a little bit more about your downtown and how your downtown impacts your region.
Okay, thank you. I'll try to show you my screen and my presentation. So I don't know. Can you see it?
Not yet.
Not yet. Just a second. I believe. Can you see it now?
No, unfortunately, we can't.
Yeah, but I went to.
You want to
Sophia, are you seeing it on your end?
No.
Sorry?
So when you go to share your screen, you probably need to click on the application window in the middle.
So yeah, application window, yeah, and then I go to presentation and put it to share, and
Yeah, there.
Oh, we just had it.
yeah, you do have it?
It popped up and then it went off.
Okay, just I will try once again. I'm sorry for
No problem.
the inconvenience. Is it on now? Can you see it?
Yes, yes,
Yeah?
it is.
Okay, then here we go. So welcome and hello in the name of, on behalf of Ljubljana Tourism. Can you see it as a big picture, or you have only a small picture? Because I don't see what you have on screen.
It is a block in screen share, but it's not the whole. It's not a big block. It's in the right hand corner.
But you can see at least some of it.
Yes.
Okay. So I go shortly through the presentation, and I hope you will have a little picture about Ljubljana, Slovenia. So Ljubljana is situated halfway between Venice and Vienna, and it's a mixture of Central European character and Mediterranean atmosphere. We do have around 300,000 inhabitants, and with it, Ljubljana is the largest city, but it's still a boutique destination. Our environmental friendly initiatives extend from green mobility, recycling, and sustainable urban planning and use of natural resources all the way to green supply chains. So numerous public space rearrangement have greatly contributed to the higher quality of life in the city. So a lot of spaces, a lot of squares and cities were completely rearranged, and the cars and traffic put away, and it's only for pedestrians. Ljubljana, people in Ljubljana, Slovenia, are famous for our love to sports activities, especially those in nature. So city center is completely closed for motorized traffic. Everything in downtown area is at a walking distance, or you can take a bike from the bicycle sharing system. And as long as you return it within 1 hour, it is free of charge. For those who have mobility issues or are simply tired of walking around, there are electric vehicles called Cavalier, and that means gentle helper in English, which offers free rides. And for a more adventurous tourist adventure, you can hop on electric train for a circular ride and see the green sightseeing. Ljubljana is striving to be as accessible as possible. So all the necessary information you can found on app also for the people or on wheelchair. The city is created to be wheelchair friendly, and also the public transport is designed for people with disabilities. Ljubljana has high quality drinking water, and you can take a sip from many water fountains around the city center. It is one of the very few capitals where water needs no chemical treatment. And as the squares and streets in the city center are only for pedestrians, so we can use it for number of events that are going on throughout the year. The city really lives with the culture. And this year, when for some months we've been in lockdown, then when in July the event started again, we've been really happy. You can find something for everybody. For children, there are sports events, cultural events, culinary events. And over the past years, Ljubljana did really a great job for making it really a green destination. So we have an extensive public green areas, which are making us one of the greenest European capitals. And even the European Commission has awarded Ljubljana with the title Green Capital of Europe 2016. City Park Tivoli is Ljubljana's largest and most beautiful park, and it stretches right into the city center. You can go for a walk, run, admire open air exhibition, play mini golf, have a tennis match, or even organize picnic. Ljubljana is really a creative and lively city with beautiful pools. People still take their time to sit and socialize in cafe and enjoy the life. In summer months, you can sit and relax in libraries under the trees, which are located in various parks around the city. The river Ljubljanica flows right through the city center, and it's a very calm water course. So boat ride is an excellent option to see the city from different perspectives. More and more popular is stand-up paddling. So it's fun experience, and it gives you another perspective on the city. You can even go kayaking through the city center, and all those options are available as a guided tours as well. The city makes some improvement also around the city center. So Koseze Pond is on the edge of Ljubljanica, and the pond is surrounded with a walking path, and next to the lake there are several wooden platforms and lookout piers. We have many outdoor fitnesses for recreation use, which are situated across the city. Our underground waste management system is not just a sustainable and clean solution, it's also a tourist attraction. So tourists, especially those from Asia, they are really amazed when they see how we manage our waste. We follow the philosophy from the field to the table, and it's not every day that you can pamper yourself with meat straight from the farm, freshly milked milk and vegetables that were picked in the morning. Well, in Ljubljana, it is. Ljubljana and the people here, we are proud of our central market and products of our local farmers. The fresh ingredients are the basis of our gastronomy. And at the marketplace, you can find those mlekomat, where you can take fresh milk straight from the farm. In the city, we have Urbana Cart, which lets you explore the city. You can use it on buses, you can rent a bike with it, or you can use it for the funicular, which goes up to the castle. Or you can discover Ljubljana with the Ljubljana tourist card that lets you discover more than 20 attractions and sightseeing around the city. Ljubljana is also distinguished by the preserved and easily accessible natural environment, great biodiversity, and varied locations. So people can go for a trip off the beaten path and explore the beauty of Ljubljana region. And for doing that, they can use for city mobility, they can use electric cars system that are also available in the city. So one of the options, just half an hour from Ljubljana, is Velika Planina. This is high mountain plateau, and it's known for the oldest shepherd settlement in Europe. Or on the other side, as well, half an hour from Ljubljana, is Arboretum Voći Potok, which is Ljubljana's most visited botanical garden, and it's worth exploring it at any time of the year. Now I have here a video. Now those are the awards that we've got regarding our sustainability, the work that we've been done in Ljubljana. And here is a short video about the mobility, but I'm not sure it will go on. Can you see the video? So this is the end of my presentation. I hope we can see us again. So yeah, that's in short words and some pictures. I hope you managed to see something about the Ljubljana Green story.
I am booking my ticket.
We were able to see it, and we really appreciate not only the presentation but the video. It showed a lot of your community. Janja, could I ask? Obviously, Ljubljana has invested a great deal in its park system, its green culture. You know, was that a strategic decision on the part of the community? And if yes, how was that decision made, and how have you nurtured that strategy over the years? And obviously the awards speak for themselves, but how did you galvanize support for that type of strategy?
I mean, if you ask me, it's all started when we got a new mayor, Zoran Jankovic, and yeah, he had a vision what he wanted to do with the city. So, and then he got all the people that work for the city go for the idea for. But really, when he started his job, he made a vision how Ljubljana would look in 25 years. So, but we just smiled. So to have a vision what will happen in Ljubljana in 25 years, it looked ridiculous. But yeah, if you really have a vision to see where you want to go, then slowly, step by step, you are going towards it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I appreciate that. Thank you. And Janja, if I could ask, obviously, Ljubljana as the capital of capital city of Slovenia, you mentioned the impact of the coronavirus and the impact that it had. Tell us a little bit, you know, again, as a community, it sounds like you've been able to reopen the community and to re-energize, you know, the city center with events and things like that. How were those decisions made, and does your residential base in particular feel comfortable in returning to the core city as you began the process of reopening?
Yeah, but unfortunately we are starting the second wave right now, so it will be a sad story again. But during the summer time, it was just, let me say, normal. But now, yeah, the restrictions are here again with mask on public transport, with not gathering a lot of people. But anyway, also theaters and concerts are still going on, but with measures. So about half of the population that is allowed to go to the shows otherwise can be there, and they have to wear masks. Obviously, yes.
Okay, well, thank you. And Marina, I know the mayor originally was scheduled to join us for this session, the mayor of Pinamar, and I understand he had to be called away because of a pandemic-related issue. Do you know how Argentina and how Pinamar is handling it, and where things stand in terms of the response and maybe the flexibility as it relates to the virus that they are experiencing?
Yeah, so Martín, Yeza, he had to attend a meeting with other mayors to figure out what to do with the state of the school, basically, because kids have been out of school for 7 months now. And in Argentina, it was pretty strict since March. So my family is in Buenos Aires, the capital, and my mom's there, my brother, and my dad is in Pinamar. And Pinamar seemed to be safe for a long time, and it almost felt like an overreaction. And they built a whole new hospital that for a kind of small city is a big deal, right? To build a whole new hospital. And they took all these measurements, and now they are, unfortunately, they're seeing more cases. I think they've had around 300 cases, and it seems like no one's going to escape this virus. But Buenos Aires was very strict, and yeah, people are having a hard time because it's been pretty terrible for the country's economy and each individual city. And unfortunately, it's not, I don't want to say that one country has it easier than other, but I will say that in the US, there's way more resources to deal with a crisis like this. And unfortunately, in many countries in Latin America, that's not the situation. So this is hard, and it's going to change, and it's going to continue to affect the economy for a long time. Right now, for example, they are debating how the summer season is going to go. In a city like Pinamar, there's people that live the whole year. They live on what they make during the summer. So it is a critical moment, and we'll see. They haven't decided yet how they're planning the summer season, but it's definitely a very interesting and negative year for this city.
Well, we appreciate that because, and you noted, obviously South America is obviously has the opposite seasonal conditions that we have, meaning that Argentina is about to go into its summer months, where we in Europe, in the United States, are in the reverse position of going into our winter months. So I think all of us involved in downtowns, no matter where we are obviously very cognizant of the impact that the virus has had, cognizant of how it's disrupted in many ways how downtowns function. But we also, at least at Downtown Cleveland Alliance, feel very strongly that at some point in the future we'll return to a position where, again, whether it's through a vaccine or other measures, we'll be able to again bring people back into the downtown environment in a way that all of us, I think, have been used to and were experiencing before the pandemic occurred. I would point out we do have a chat room. I don't know if there are any additional questions that any of our listeners have. If not, I welcome them at this point. But I also wanted to maybe ask both of you again. Janja, you touched on it in terms of a portion of your city center does not allow cars. You allow pedestrians. You allow bikes. I assume you allow scooters as well, given our experience. And Marina,
yeah, but they have to be very low. They don't. They also bicycles are allowed to be as fast as pedestrians, not faster. So yeah.
So they have to move at that same pace, in other words.
Yeah.
And Marina, in Pinamar, how they've approached that issue. And again, I'm very familiar with the European model, which has those traditional retail sections of the city in particular that have closed off and mainly essentially allowed pedestrians to be the more dominant and walking to be the more dominant form. What's your experience there?
So I wanted to quickly, and now that I got it, I'm going to share it, and I'm going to be faster. I wanted to quickly share these slides of the presentation that the mayor sent me, because you can see that, so this is a picture of Barcelona, this is a picture of Oakland in the US, this is a picture of Barcelona also, so that Pinamar is taking these successful cities as examples to create better paths and more pedestrian mobility access for people that live there, and I'm going to show you some of the planning. Here, for example, this is how it looks right now. This is part of the downtown and where everyone concentrates during the week because there's the banks and the main stores. And see little changes that are so meaningful. This, for example, some of the streets, there's a lot of sand throughout the city. And so this is how they are planning to, solve it and make it better. And there is an actual, I don't know how you call this in English, but in many parts of the city, you don't have this path where you can walk next to the street, you know. So
A walking path, yeah.
yeah, a walking path. So they're trying to create a more friendly, pedestrian-friendly city throughout the city, and also for bikes. So I think that was worth sharing, and how they take the example of other cities around the world. That is impressive.
Well, one of the things I think we are seeing across the globe in many cities and in many downtowns because of the pandemic is the understanding that greater pedestrian capacity, creating more social distancing, creating opportunities for people to use that, as you say, either the street differently or some of the sidewalks and pathways differently. And by doing so, again, allow people to spread out a little bit more and encourage that. I know, for example, I heard a statistic recently, since COVID began, I think the city of Oakland in California added 78 miles of additional dedicated bikeways, all on a temporary basis, but recognizing that the pandemic was really putting people who, again, were looking for mobility on bikes in a way that maybe we weren't considering a year ago here in the United States. So I think that type of dynamic has been very, very creative in terms of communities' responses to what they see as the demand, but also opportunities that the pandemic is creating. So with that, I don't see any additional questions. I want to, on behalf of Global Cleveland and our Sister Cities Conference, thank both of you for joining us today. And to our audience, I hope this has been instructive, and I hope you learned a little bit more about our sister cities across the globe, but more importantly, learned a little bit more about how, again, downtowns and core cities impact their regional economies and really in many ways become the beacon for the communities that they represent. So on behalf of Global Cleveland, thank you all for joining us. And Janja, Marina, thank you so much for joining us as well. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.